This is an addendum to the ESC portion of my firmware for this platform. I was going back through everything today from the start. I started right here. Okay, I didn't do these. I started right here. And I'm reading everything verbatim. So when I got back over to this again, I found something I didn't find the last time. And that I had sort of said something about during the ESC video. And that was the telemetry. And boy, this is right here. Uses a battery monitor. Oops. Right here's the whole 9 yards of, I told you in the video I had suspicions that I should set the battery monitor to 9. Well, now I have the battery monitor for battery 1. Oh, come on. Is now set to a 9. I haven't even powered it up again since I changed that perimeter. While I'm right here, I don't have bidirectional D-shot turned on yet. I do not think, because this talks about the setup of it. And that you set that BD mask to 15. But it seems like it varies from flight controller to flight controller. So I'm a little bit apprehensive about this right now. And what that says it does for me is it will put, let's see, I think it puts all the D-shot, the RPM values, right here it is. Returning motor RPM's value over the D-shot signal line. I'm not sure if that's how it's going on right now. I think it may be coming over the ESC wire, and this changes that up. Anyway, I'm going to look at this a little deeper, but I'm not going to turn it on at this moment, but I might in the future. But I'm going to go back and, as you saw, I did change my battery monitor to 9. Now, that basically is the addendum I wanted to talk about. Oops, guess I should power that up, shouldn't I? But I did come in and look at a little bit of the flight from yesterday, and I found some interesting things. I do have some ESC telemetry. Here's the 4 ESCs. I have RPM, raw RPM, voltage, don't have current, that's a little depressing. Temperature, I think that's all I have. I'm just checking these real quick to verify that I don't have anything in them. Oh, and I have time. So RPM on that ESC, there it is. I am getting telemetry data. Raw RPM, voltage, temperature, and that's all. Now I did find this interesting today, and if I turn on the D-shot, or it may be when I change that to a 9, I'll go back and look at that. I think it's going to put all 4 of these into one value. I don't know what it'll do on this. But I did find this interesting today. There's the temperature on one of them, just the ESC. There's another one. There's a, voltage. There's another one. Those are all right there together, aren't they? Well, here's the 4th one. That one kind of sits out by itself. a little hotter. I mean, not much. We got the peak here for all. These are the coolest. These are the two next hottest. So if this is 40 and this is 45, I don't know if that's centigrade. Doesn't matter whether it's centigrade or Fahrenheit. The difference in all three of them is no more than about 3.5 right in here, I think, this top line. So they're pretty close together, but it is interesting to see them all broke out like that. And of course, RPM on them all is about the same. Now I'm showing you this today because now that I've set that perimeter to 9, there may be a change in the next telemetry file. This telemetry file was created when there were no, that perimeter wasn't a 9. And let's see. Oh, okay. This is what I was thinking about for the bidirectional D shot down here. It's what the 9 did for me. All connected BL32 ESCs will be connected with connected telemetry wiring to the configured autopilot serial port will be aggregated as a single source. So I think after this, because I changed that to 9, I may only have one value here. Is why I mention it instead of these 4. Or I may have 4 still, but only one of them really gives data. Just going to be interesting to see. I've never worked with BL Heli ESCs before. The voltages reported will be averaged, the currents totaled, and the consumed current accumulated. Well, I didn't see where those were being sent anywhere. But bits. A viewer sent me BL Heli information this morning. Thank you, sir. Killer. I get to go read that now. I may learn even more. So I'm going to close this down. Like I say, I did start going back through all of the documentation this morning, and I've got to pick up a different motor cut. The one in my radio just stops the throttle channel from transmitting. It doesn't actually stop anything on the platform. In that case, if the platform was in a flight controller controlled mode, as in return to launch or something like that, it wouldn't pay any attention to the fact that the throttle had been dropped to 0. So I've got to change that around. So I was going back through all the documentation just to clean up little things that I missed. And this was one of them. Whoops, almost missed another little point. Sorry about that, guys. Probably shouldn't do this early in the morning. So, this is over in RPM measurement. And ESC telemetry here. Here's your average motor RPM. And this says that you go in after you set up BL Heli. I don't know if that means that the BL Heli has to be. I'm going to play with this. So it says the RPM library can also be used to set up an RPM sensor that computes and logs the average RPM for selected motors on the vehicle that are controlled by BL Heli 32 or BL Heli S capable ESCs. Whew. This is over here is the BL Heli telemetry that we were just in. That starts down through there. Now I don't know if this works with just this battery monitor turned on, or if turning on this down here, I think this right here works on the serial port, and then after this down here is turned on, it quits using the serial port and this data starts going right here. I'm sorry. When you turn this on, doing this down here, now the telemetry is going back and forth through the B-heli rather than the telemetry port. That's what I'm getting out of this. I don't know yet. I will play with it and then I will have the results and know. So I'm not going to set this for the next flight, and then I'll see how that change that we talked about before, just setting that to 9 affected everything. Then I'll come in here and do that. This will be set RPM type to 5. That'll be assuming they don't mean over here the B-heli setup is including that bidirectional. We'll see if it works without that. If it doesn't, we'll come back and do that. And then I think this isn't going to do anything at that time. I honestly think this will do something based on the ESC UART telemetry, but we're going to find out. But anyway, this is another perimeter having to do with ESC telemetry. I'm just trying to finish that addendum so I can put it to bed. I hope I'm not going to find any new information. But anyway, set RPM type to 5. So here is RPM 2 type. And 5 is ESC. So I assume when you set this to 5 and write it out, and disconnect, power down, power back up, reconnect, and now go back and look. RPM 2 now has more values. So by changing this to a 5, all these popped up, and they want me to change this one. I see. And that would be for my 4 motors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't use my fingers this morning for some reason. And binary weighted decimal. This digit has a weight of 1. This has a weight of 2. This has a weight of 4. This has a weight of 8. So 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15. That's how this works. I guess this is another reason that Ardu Pilot from the day one and continues just to be so easy for me. It wasn't really, I guess, in addition to starting out in a low version time and working through them all over the years, 10 years, but also the fact that they count their stuff in binary and stuff, which I am completely comfortable with and did for 50 years when I was working in computers. Just second nature to me. That might be another reason I'm just comfortable with what's going on here. I'm not going to set that to a 15. So what I'm technically going to do is I'm going to load my old parameters file again. My last parameters file again, so I can overwrite all the changes I just made during this video. See, that's going to already set the RPM 2 type back to 0. Alright, now I'm back. Should be back to the way I was before, because I'm not going to set that right now. I'm going to see what happens with just the 9. It looks to me like the ESC is actually going to combine those inputs. I'm going to see what the telemetry does. Then I will set that RPM to type and see what happens. So you see now I'm back to a exact where I was before I started playing with all these parameters for this video. So, God, I hope this is the last. Oh, and down here they talk about that. RPM2 ESC mask is a bit mask. I've been using bit masks in computers for years and years and years, especially in assembly language programming, which is probably what they're doing, the developers of this. I'm not going to get into it, but in assembly language, there's a way to compare two registers using bit masks. And you can make logical decisions so easily and quickly. So here's what I was talking about. This is the weight of the 4-digit binary number. 1, 2, 4, and 8. And they equal 15. So that's exactly what they're doing. Okay. I think I can actually say permanently for this subject, hopefully. Thank you.